time of the month. It's not only coming up to Christmas, because we're way off that, or even Halloween. No, something better than that. It's MPJ, and it's the new rock album review show with me, Nige, with Simon, with Chris, with Trish. Welcome back. We reviewed the latest videos, rate them out of 5. Will it get into a Hall of Fame? You know the drill. And today we are reviewing Boston Manor and their album Sundiver. So, without boring you about who Boston are, read about them on the video. It's all on there. It'll tell you all about Boston Manor. Okay, are they from Boston? Read it, find out. Now, somebody who's also not from Boston, it's Simon. Okay, Simon, what did you think of Boston Manor?
You're right. I'm not from Boston.
You're not.
Yeah. What a great album. There were so many styles and sounds on display here. It was a real journey going through these tracks. The opening track, "Heat Me Up," in more alt rock style, bit pop punk, and then there's that Morning Star instrumental piece that really quite neatly breaks the album up into a more introspective and emotional second half. Fornix was a great track, a bit of a heavier tone. I'd really like to hear more from them. What Is Taken Will Never Be Lost got this kind of raw emotion to it. I really liked this album. It was a nice surprise on this month's lineup. I'm looking forward to hearing more of them.
Cool. Chris?
So I kind of agree with Simon. So there's plenty of variety in the album, and I have to admit, the first time I listened to it, I thought, really? What are they trying to do with this one? But as I listened to it more, I listened to it 3 or 4 times over the course of the month, and it just kind of, I hate the phrase, but it did grow on me, and it became, it's one of the better ones from this month, I think. There's plenty of styles. There is some screamer in tracks, like Sliding Doors, which is unfortunate and is a bit more overused than I would usually like. There's some slower introspective tracks and things like Horses in a Dream. And there's a bit of an odd interlude in the middle with Morning Star, which I thought, what's going on with this? But taking it as a whole, it was actually a really enjoyable album. I'd be interested in hearing more from them as well.
Well, we're not that interested in hearing more from her, but we'll go there anyway. Trish, what did you think of Boston Manor?
So, the name of the band rang a bell to me, but I have no idea why. So, I didn't have any expectations on what I was going to hear. The opening track, Datura, is quite soft and chill opening for an album and doesn't give too much away as to what is to come. It flows nicely into Container, which totally wakes up the album, and I like an album to be alive and kick-ass, which this track does. Obviously, mellower tracks have their places in albums, and they aren't my preferred, but some do make it to my music library. Sliding Doors starts off quite funky in sound, and I like the mix of the screamo in it, as it's not too overpowering on this track. Then a bit of drum and bass to start off Morning Star, which, even though it's purely an instrumental, shows the diversity of this band's music and process. But for me, wasn't necessarily needed in the album unless it was purely for what I have just said. Standout track for me was Dissolve. I absolutely loved this. This album is a little golden nugget of melodic rock and a new band added to my music collection.
That's a good album, this. It's a really good album. I suppose, for me, Container, as soon as Container comes on, poof, it's got a bit of rock, it feels a bit rock poppy, but it's not, because it's a bit harder than that. Dissolve is just an outstanding track. A little bit harder vocals. It edges towards that metalcore, but never really throws itself in that direction. It does what I like metalcore to do, which is accentuate the album rather than dictate it or overtake it in terms of its vocality. Such a really, really, really good album. But now I'm going to quote Simon and Will, because what was that opening track? What was that all about? What's it called? Daughtra, in brackets, Dawn. It was just such a awful, rubbish 1.5 minute track that it just did not. It was just It just annoyed me every time. Bizarrely, this probably would have got a big one, maybe up there. Up there is one of my favourite albums of the month. But just that opening track just really annoyed me. So therefore, yes, it spoilt my enjoyment of the album. Get rid of it. It was useless. It was rubbish. The rest of the album was fantastic. But there we go. Right. Hey, will you get to 4? Will we maybe say the right score? Because some of us sometimes get the scores wrong, and have to change it last minute. So let's try and make sure we get it right, shall we, Chris? Simon.
I don't know what you mean.
I know, Simon. What did you give?
Big old 4.
Big old 4. Chris.
I gave it a 3 and then corrected myself and gave it a 4.
You did. You did. Right. I give it a 4.5. Trish, what did you give it?
I gave it a 4.5. I did a minus point purely for that instrumental in the middle.
Yeah. So if Will gives it, if Will gives this more than a 2.5, if Will gives this 3 or more, right, it's into the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's got to be a no-brainer, surely. No, he goddamn well didn't, did he? Oh no. William, give it a 2.5. So it got 19.5.
It didn't tickle him. Yeah.
19.5. I wish now that I'd given it a 5, but it was only because I opening track. Oh God, never mind. We just never know, do you? We never know. It got 3.9. It is our 6th favourite album of the month. 87 out of 444 and 37 out of 142. Didn't quite get into a Hall of Fame. It deserved to be in a Hall of Fame, but there we go. That's life. Thank you very much. Would you agree? They're an English rock band, by the way, from Blackpool. But you UK people from Blackpool, what did you think? Agree, disagree? Leave a comment, like, subscribe, do what you want. It's a bonus for us. Thank you very much to my panel, to Simon, to Trish, and to Chris. And goodbye, and keep rocking. Bye for now.
Bye.
Oh.